today.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending where you are. I'm pleased that we're able to offer you this live webinar today and to also make it available for any other folks who may be on the fence. So I'm going to turn this over to Andre Johnson. He's a longtime AOTA volunteer who also happens to be doing a level 2 fieldwork experience with the conference team at AOTA. So Andre, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Frank. Hi, everyone. I'm Andre Johnson, as Frank has said, from Florida A&M University. I'm a level 2 fieldwork student. I'd like to introduce our panelists for today. I have the honor of introducing Frank Gaynor, who's our head of our events and conference team. Laura Deary, if she would like to introduce herself, I could absolutely give her an opportunity to do so. I'll move on. And Joan Surface as well. Thank you so much, Joan, also for joining us today on our panel. With that, Frank.
All right. Well, let's talk about what goes on at Inspire or annual conference. This year, we'll talk a little bit in a bit about the number of sessions we're offering, but there are a variety of different session types based upon your preference and what you would like to attend and for how long you would like to attend different sessions. On the Wednesday before conference, we have what we call 6-hour pre-conference institutes. I believe there are 22 this year in Orlando. Pretty much all practice areas are represented, and these tend to be more in-depth learning. They are, as I said, 6 hours in length. You can earn up to 6 contact hours for attending these. And these are usually held from 12 to 6:30 p.m. on the Wednesday before conference. And they are a separate registration fee. Now, the short courses are held all throughout Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And these are 1 hour in length. And these, based upon our feedback every year, these are the most popular types of sessions. And again, all practice areas are represented. And if you want a deeper dive, then on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we will have 3-hour workshops available for you in the morning and in the afternoon. And again, all different practice areas are represented. We do have scientific research panels on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And these are typically 30-minute papers. They present their research, and then there is time for Q&A and having a dialogue. We are going to have tech labs throughout conference too, and these are very hands-on opportunities to learn about some of the newest technology. And these are in one room, is set up to be a tech lab. We have 8 2-hour poster sessions over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And these, again, are all areas of practice are represented. We group them by practice areas. So if you want to focus on the children and youth related posters, you can go to that individual pod. And conversations that matter. These are highly interactive sessions. They are not presentations. They are 50-minute facilitated discussions, and these are all throughout Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There are 4 of these going on at any one time. These are in a big hall. We spread them out. Sometimes they become very popular. But again, do not expect to have a lecture when you go to these, but these are a discussion with the facilitator or more than one facilitator, and also with your neighbors about the topic at hand. Student-only sessions, anyone can really go to these sessions, but we make them with students in mind, and these are offered Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And one of the things that I do want to point out is students are invited to go to any session they want to during Inspire. We don't limit them to just the student-only sessions. They're invited to participate in any session that they care for. All right, Bridget, next slide. So we've got close to 1,700 sessions total. And how does that break down? That's about 450 didactic sessions. That includes the short courses, the workshops, the conversations that matter, the tech labs, and then we've got close to 1,200 posters. Who's giving those almost 1,650 sessions? We've got close to 3,000 speakers. So it's a huge number. And this is the largest annual gathering of occupational therapy practitioners in the world every year. And Orlando is a popular destination, so I'm thinking we're going to get several hundred international attendees. I think right now, when I last checked, we have over 12 countries represented. So we're expecting over 7,000 occupational therapy practitioners and students to join us in Orlando. Joan or Laura, do you have anything you want to add?
Hi, good afternoon and good morning. I just have to say it's one of those things that it might be overwhelming when you get there, but you can get so much done. And if you're getting your CEUs, it's great for networking, and we can talk some more about that more later. It's a really good venue it's like a one-stop shop.
Laura, do you have anything you want to add?
That's what I was going to say, what Joan just said. It is like one-stop shop. You can learn, you can network, you can meet vendors. I mean, there's just so many things you can do, and it's all packed within a couple of days that it's a really great opportunity to do everything at one time.
And Andre?
I couldn't agree more. The networking for me is absolutely a big part of conference. Our academic community usually comes in on that Tuesday or Wednesday. Monday or Tuesday, but by Wednesday, everyone's in town. And by Thursday, you can really get to connect with a lot around the country. So the networking to me is absolutely outstanding at conference.
I just want to add one more thing, Frank, sorry, especially since you were talking about all the different sessions and the different tracks, but what I really like is you can pick and choose based on your specialty or your general interest, or you can totally go out of your area of interest and pick up new skills, and that's a benefit.
And that leads me to something I want to mention, Joan, is that pretty much anytime you're at Inspire, there are 24 to 26 different things that you can be doing. So there are lots of choices to make, and people will give us feedback. It's too big. There's too many choices. I would rather you have a extra choices to make rather than not enough. And we have a lot of people who want to share their passion, their expertise with you all. And so we give as many people an opportunity to present as we possibly can. But I also want you all to know that every session that comes before you, that you choose from, has gone through a peer review process. The only session that does not go through a peer review process are some of these special events that we're going to let you go over now. Allison Stover is our president. AOTA president always gets to give a 45-minute presentation during Inspire, and hers will be Friday morning. And what Allison likes to do is she likes to highlight different practitioners. So get ready to meet some different folks who have taken the entrepreneurship pathway as part in their career. We've got a great keynote speaker on Thursday morning, Simon Bailey. He actually lives in Orlando, so he doesn't have a far commute to come. And some of you, if you had registered earlier, may have seen where we put a call out for attendees to share some of their challenges and how they've repurposed their career as an OT practitioner. And we had some great responses. We sent them to Simon. Simon's going to be interviewing those individuals and weaving them into his keynote address. So we're looking forward to that. And Simon speaks all around the world, and I've heard wonderful rave reviews about him. All right, next slide, Bridget. The Slagle Lecture is a tradition, and that is going to be Saturday at 11:15. One of my favorite things is I get to invite the previous Slagle lecturers to be introduced on the stage prior to the new Slagle presentation. And I always they all come to the back of the house. They're very good at lining themselves up in order of year they presented, but sometimes it's like herding cats. But it's great to see all of that energy, that brilliance in one space. So this year's Slagle lecturer is going to be Dr. Anita Bundy from Colorado State University. And the title of her lecture is going to be Bubble Wrap is for Packages, Not for People, Balancing Dignity of Risk with Duty of Care. And something we've started the last couple of years at the conclusion of the Slagle lecture for 2024, she will announce the 2025 Slagle lecturer. So come and hear who's going to be sharing their wisdom with us in Philadelphia. Now, something we are so excited about that we've been working on since, God, it seems forever, probably since last May, is to help the National Black OT Caucus celebrate their 50th anniversary, which was, they were founded in 1974. So they've got a number of sessions planned throughout conference, but they're going to have their big gala on Friday evening. And it's been our honor to work with them in helping them realize their gala and this special milestone. And we have a number of different surprises that we will share with you on site that we're going to help recognize them. And also, I should give a shout out to Howard University. They will be recognizing in Orlando their 50th anniversary as a first accredited HBCU OT program. And we've got some special items planned for them. So Andre, do you want to you've been part of this group, and
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to share?
I mean, honestly, I know I'm really looking for the 50th anniversary celebration on that Friday night. As you said, Frank, Howard has theirs on Saturday, but that tandem in regards to how that whole story of the National Black OT Caucus starting in '74 is largely spearheaded by Howard University. So it's a very big weekend in regards to, I guess, the Black history component of occupational therapy. So definitely looking forward to the NBCOT event on that Friday evening and the Howard University event on Saturday.
And for me, they got their founding at the first OT conference I ever attended in 1974. So I feel like I've kind of gone full circle there. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone and celebrating that. Next slide. So more special events. For those of you who like to get up early and exercise, well, we've got yoga for you on Friday and Saturday morning. After the keynote, Simon Bailey's keynote presentation on Thursday, we open the expo. And if you've never been to an Inspire or annual conference, it is a sight to behold. Those of us who get to go there early, we get to see it being created. And it's the size of a football field. And there's so many vendors who want to talk to you. They got tchotchkes. There's a lot of energy in that hall, and that's where people run into folks they know. And I always enjoy seeing that. We've got 2 live panels. This is something we started to do as a result of COVID, and we're keeping these on because these are popular. We're bringing back the women's health panel that we had in Kansas City. So this is 2.0. And I think when we had to finally shut that down, we had over 100 questions still in the queue. So our panelists are really looking forward to being back and having a discussion with the audience and each other on Thursday. And then on Friday, we are going to have a panel on gender affirming care. And we're excited about the opportunity for them to share their stories and also to take your questions. And the other thing that's going on Thursday, we're going to have a film screening of Do No Harm, which is the healthcare's perspective about abortion and pro-choice and pro-life. And it's a film that's about 32 minutes long, and then there'll be a discussion afterwards. And the other thing, one of the other highlights we want to do is we're so excited to bring back the exam prep knowledge quest on Saturday afternoon. And this is for students only, and it's a chance for 5 academic programs to compete for prizes and to see who does the best with the exam prep questions. And you don't have to be part of the team competition. We encourage every student to come. This is OTA students and OT, and be a part of this exciting event. We even have pom-poms. Laura and Joan, oh, I shouldn't have said that. That was going to be a surprise. But Laura and Joan, do you have anything you want to add with the special events?
With the special events, I think what's nice is there's a mix of special events that require, extra purchase tickets, but also those that are of no extra cost and included in your conference fee. And sometimes even if you're not a student, I know as somebody who is on the academia side, I appreciate going to the Knowledge Prep Bowl sometimes because it is so fun to see the students compete and really put their clinical reasoning together to see what's coming ahead for them.
And the expo hall, the grand opening is always a lot of fun. I mean, it's so crowded because everybody goes to the expo opening. There's usually awesome food that's served at that point. But it's a great opportunity just to meet with some of the vendors and you get to talk with them. And but you're also running into a lot of colleagues and other students, maybe perhaps that you went to school with before in the past. Just gives a good opportunity. But that NBCOT exam prep, I remember the doors opening and I didn't know what was going on in there. And the excitement coming out of that room was palpable. It was incredible. I haven't been up for the yoga, so exhaustion, I think, set in by day 2 or so. So I can't speak to that, but I have seen people out there and they're doing yoga, and it's like all the power to you.
And then I don't know for how long, one of our other special events is we've had a couple of, I think an OT and an OTA who do a salsa break for us on Friday after the presidential address. And we are now planning something special for you all on Saturday as a break. So it will be announced probably in the next month, but Andre's going to be working on that. All right, next slide. All right, these are the registration rates. It's obvious to register early before February 28th, because that's when you get the best deal. And regular rates will begin on the 29th. And so this is all on the Inspire microsite, inspire.aota.org. All right, so let's talk about volunteering for AOTA. Bridget, do you want to take this on?
Sure. Sorry, just had to find where my mouse had gone. So every year we have volunteer opportunities, and you can either come and only volunteer at conference, or you can come as a registered attendee, and then you can also volunteer as a way to help support your National Professional Association. We have a number of different volunteer types. So you can either serve as a room monitor, and then you'll be able to attend that session as you are helping to kind of facilitate crowd control before and helping people find their seats and get settled before the presentation starts. And then we also have opportunities to help out at the registration counter if you really like to interact with people coming through, helping them get set up as they are first arriving at conference. We have a few slots both at the AOTA store and the AOTA experience, but those may have already filled. But if not, definitely grab them. They go fast. And if you are from the Orlando area, we are always looking for volunteers to help our local conference committee at the information booth and provide any answers to questions that people might have about what to do when conference ends for the day and where they can go for dinners or different things like that. So if you are from the area and you love interacting with people and want to let people know your favorite hidden gems while they can, so they can visit while they're in Orlando, definitely sign up for those slots. There's a link on the Inspire site, as well as you can scan the QR code or click the link at the bottom. I will re-drop the link to the slides once I'm done talking into the chat box. So if you haven't had a chance to grab it yet, it will be right in the chat box for you to pull and open. And then one of the nice things, if you are only coming to volunteer after you complete 4 hours of volunteer shifts, you will get a wristband that will give you access for the rest of the day to the expo hall. So you can go up and visit our different exhibitors at their booths. So definitely a lot of options to kind of fit your needs for attending Inspire in Orlando and getting to different sessions.
And one thing I want to add too, or maybe you said it, Bridget, did we talk about if you're a practitioner and buying your CE?
No, I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
So if you are a room monitor without an active conference registration, because if you have the conference registration, you'll get the CE through your registration. But if you come and are only volunteering and you're a practitioner that signs up as a room monitor, you can purchase contact hours for those sessions that you go to at a discounted rate. All of that will be done through the People Power booth, which is where you check in and out of. That is also run by members of our local conference committee, which Laura and Joan were part of when they were part of a local conference committee for one of our Long Beach conferences. And they will fill out a form for you that you can then take over to registration and purchase those contact hours.
And one of the things we save for the practitioners is we prefer practitioners serve as room monitors on those all-day institutes on Wednesday. And so for 6 contact hours, you would only have to pay $50 to get the 6 contact hours. So it's a very good deal. All right. Anything else with volunteering?
Just having volunteered for a couple of years with AOTA, it is a lot of fun. I mean, it's something, if you do like to be around people, which most OT practitioners do, it's something that's very much needed from AOTA. We do need the assistance of these volunteers. That's what makes this conference really work. And so usually when you're a volunteer, you get like a bright orange t-shirt if that's what they have, or, you know, but you stand out and that is your role and your position at the different sessions. So if you are a room monitor, you know, there comes responsibility with that because there's fire laws in the rooms. And but there's such a great support system with Bridget and the entire AOTA team that you know, you're there just to help facilitate the session to make sure that it runs smoothly for the presenters. But it's also a lot of fun and you get to learn a lot of things too by going to different sessions.
And I'm going to put Andre on the spot. Andre,
Okay.
what do you
Yes.
think is the biggest question that the information booth provides an answer to?
Do you have any Band-Aids?
It's up there.
Close, that's support and solutions.
It's actually, where's the nearest
Right.
bathroom?
Okay.
And the second largest question is probably, where do I find this session? So I want people to know we have lots of people down in the registration area to help guide you to where you need to be. And you know, no question is a dumb question. We've heard it all, and we just want to make sure that people have a good time while they're there, they feel safe, and conference is meeting their needs.
And
Anything
before we
else?
move on, one
Mhm.
more thing about volunteering. We do have a number of slots available that had been added back in October with maybe like one spot left per session. So anything, it is live time. So anything that's showing up does still have availability. And within the next week or so, we're going to be adding the sessions that came in from our fall call for papers, which includes those conversations that matter. So if you don't maybe see something that you want right now, check back in a week or two and there will be more slots available.
Great. When AOTA comes to a state, you can go to the next slide, Bridget. We ask the state president to pick a chair of the local conference committee. And that's done usually the year before. And the Florida president chose Tia Hughes. And then we asked the chair of the local conference committee to appoint their leadership team. And Tia picked her team. And next week, for the first time ever, we're going to have a live webinar on meeting the local conference committee so they can answer your questions about Orlando. One of the things that we asked the local conference committee to do, since they are local, is to decide on a local charity. The Orlando Local Conference Committee picked 3 charities. And you can see who they are here. We'll be talking more about these next week. But one of the things with the little free library is you can go to the Inspire website and there's a list of books that have been banned in certain areas of Florida. If you want to purchase those and bring them with you, we will give them to the little free library for distribution throughout Orange County and surrounding counties. We have Zebra Youth, which is a group that supports the LGBTQ homeless in Orange County. And they actually had an OTD student do her capstone there. And she put that on our radar. And she's actually one of our panelists for the gender nonconforming health panel. And then Quest is a group that works in Orange County. It's been in existence for 60 years, works with all ages of folks who have some type of developmental disability. And again, AOTA makes no contributions to the local charities. It comes through your registration. When you register, you can opt to make a donation. And usually our attendees contribute $4,000 to $5,000 a year. All right, next slide. Now, housing, when we talk about housing, we have a room block. And I forget off the top of my head how many hotels we have in Orlando. But by registering in one of our AOTA hotels, if you should have a problem on site with your hotel, we can be your advocate. If you choose to stay in a timeshare or an Airbnb or a hotel that's not in our block, since we haven't interacted with them, we can't act on your behalf if you should have an issue, because what we say to them doesn't matter because we don't have a contract with them. So, in the past, we've had one hotel that had a water issue. So we were able to get some refunds for some of our members who were at that particular property. And another time we had a little bed bug incident and we were able to work that out and advocate on behalf of our attendees staying at that property. That's why we encourage you to stay within our block. And again, book your room by February 22nd. And right now we have over 6,000 room nights booked in Orlando, which is great. All right, next slide. All right, when we first signed with Orlando in 2018, we didn't realize some of no one has a crystal ball to realize there were some challenges that were going to come up in the years ahead. But you can go to the Inspire website. We have some FAQs there. Some individuals gave us feedback about they didn't necessarily feel safe in Florida. we have addressed all of those issues and they are on our website. And we have found Visit Orlando and the Orange County Convention Center to be wonderful partners, because we are not the only group that had these issues. They have an extensive security program that's behind the scenes. And back in August, when I did a site visit, I got to meet one of their security robots. I took a picture. I think I took a picture of its butt instead of its front, and it gave me a little sassiness and whirled around and looked at me. But you will get to meet him or her or them on site in March. So we're very excited about being in Orlando, and Orlando's very welcoming. So who wants to talk about the dress code? Bridget?
Yeah, of course. So it is business casual dress code. The key is we always want everyone to be comfortable. You are going to be sitting in sessions for anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. So you want to make sure that, you know, your clothes aren't distracting you from being able to really take in the content. We always recommend dressing in layers, especially in warmer climates like Orlando, where it's going to be hopefully nice and warm when we're outside, but the AC can kick on in those centers and it can get a little cool. So always make sure you have a little extra something with you to put on, whether it's a sweater or a scarf or a light jacket, something like that. Always comfortable shoe wear. Andre was not wrong when he said the Band-Aids, just definitely, it's the support and solutions. So if you do need them, support and solutions in the registration area, I'll be happy to give you a Band-Aid. But definitely comfortable shoe wear will make a huge difference when you are walking through the center. All convention centers are big, and we have our headquarter hotel is connected via a walkway on the second floor. So it does make it easy to go between the two. But again, just the more comfortable your shoes are, the better it'll be to get through. I personally wear more like fashion sneakers, so I have that support, but then they look like they're fancier shoes than just my regular Nikes. And then definitely intend, you will be getting your steps and pushes in for the day. We have a step and push challenge every year that we award daily prizes to, and more information on that will be coming soon. And that runs from Wednesday through Saturday of conference every year.
Yes, and we just, Marcy and I were talking about that, I think Monday or Tuesday. Yes, we're getting that all ready to get going.
Right.
All right,
Can I-
Joe. Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
add a little here? Laura and I were talking where, you know, it is business casual, which is quite comfortable to be able to dress that way. You'll see a whole range of, there's people in suits and more business attire than business casual, but I just want to encourage people to kind of hold to that, because you never know who you're going to interface with. Last year, I ended up with kind of like an impromptu pre-interview to a position. And if I had been in like leggings and a t-shirt, that wouldn't have been a very, very comfortable meeting. So you just never know the networking you're going to do and who you'll come across. And we are a professional association, so it does matter in the global sense, right?
Andre, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, for me, one of the bigger things that I always remember to bring is honestly a backpack and some water. Those are my outfit for the day big keys, because overall through the day, you get very thirsty and hydrated from doing so many steps. So that's one of the things, but for me is wearing, for example, like a backpack just to keep some of the items off my hand, because for example, when you do introduce yourself or you meet people in conference, you know, having your hands free is very helpful. So that's one of the things for me. And shoes, I always try to keep the shoe game a little bit light in regards to a conference, something that's fashionable, but something that you can walk around with, because you do get a lot of steps in, and you definitely don't want blisters or anything like that. So that's just my tips.
And we've been talking about this, also the step and push challenge. You know, we've gotten up to 28 billion steps by our attendees at a conference, from everyone who enters their information. So I think we're going to do well in Orlando. Bridget, you want to talk about the app and how people can search it?
Yeah, so all the information you need to find out about what's going on at conference is in the mobile app. You're able to view all of the sessions, brief descriptions on the sessions, the learning objectives, as well as like the primary topic category and the secondary topic category, as well as the level of material. So you can filter by all of that. You can also filter by the session type, which is everything we went over on that very first slide. So you can really narrow down all of those sessions into what you are looking for and to be able to see what we have for what you're interested in. Then within the app, you can fully build out your schedule. You can add anything that is already there in the app as a schedule, and you can also create your own meetings. So if you want to have like a one-on-one networking with someone, you can add that to your calendar within the app. So that way it'll block off that time for you. All of the handouts from the speakers are in the app as well. So you're able to see those ahead of time if they've been uploaded by the speaker to really decide if a session is right for you. You can take notes within the session, and then a really great feature that's part of it is any of the notes you take, whether it's in a session or notes you take when you're in the expo hall visiting with an exhibitor at their booth, you can email all of that to yourself at the very end of the conference. So then it's all in one email ready for you to print or save and reference as you need to once you get back and are trying to remember all of the great stuff that you've learned at conference. You can also see all of our speakers that are coming, and if attendees have made their profile public, you can also see who's coming as well. We also do not have them in yet because we'll add them as we get closer, but all of the shuttle routes and the timings for the hotels to and from the convention center. We will have shuttle routes for all of the hotels except for the 2 Rosen properties that are connected to the west building of the convention center that will be in on either side of it. So don't think you have to walk or take an Uber from any of the hotels that are a little farther off. We will be offering a shuttle service for you that you can find in the app. And we do know that sometimes people either like just something in their hands to hold, or you might need to provide some information on the sessions at conference to get funding from your employer. So if you go to the Inspire site, which is just inspire.aota.org, and if you mouse over sessions and click session types, on that page, you will find a PDF download that just lists the title, date, and time of every session that we have at conference, which is a little bit more or a lot, it's not as many pages to print out. Whereas if you were to print out a page from the app, for each session that you wanted to go to, you could print that out and just highlight what you wanted and provide that to your employer, which is a resource people definitely like to have. So definitely check that out. And if you ever have any questions about it, just email us at conference@aota.org, and we are happy to answer any questions or walk you through. Or when we get on site in Orlando, because hopefully you will be joining us, you can stop by the support and solutions desk, and anyone that is working there knows the app very well and will be happy to help you navigate it and make the most of the app so you can get the most out of your time in Orlando.
And one of the things I always look for in the app is where are the alumni receptions? Alumni receptions are hugely popular. And I think we have over 20 schools already signed up for alumni receptions and more coming. And they're always in the evening. So
yeah, that is one thing to note. It is every event at conference that is in the app. There are a handful of maybe like meetings that smaller groups are having that they ask not to put in. But anything that is open to the public and we would like you to join us is in the app. We also put in our conference services, which is that support and solutions and the information booth that we keep mentioning, and registration. So you know all of the hours and locations, because we have registration early in the week at the hotel, and then we have it later in the week at the convention center. And the maps of the center will help you find anything you need to. So it's not just the sessions that are in that app, even though the sessions are what a lot of people come for. If you're also here for, like Frank said, the alumni events or any of the other meetings that might be going on, the networking groups that meet, that will be in the app as well.
Andre, talk to us about the weather in Florida in the winter in March.
Yeah, so for everyone coming into Florida, I'm a Florida boy for 40 plus years. So in regards to this, it's the perfect time of the year. When we're looking at Florida at this time of the year, you're thinking about humidity. I know a lot of people from up north are going, oh boy, I hope it's not too scorching hot. No, actually, it's about the right perfect time of the year. So from about mid 70s to mid 50s is usually the temperature Fahrenheit in regards to it. And humidity is usually very low at that time of the year. So that's also a good thing too. So conference is looking like the weather will align with us and God willing it will. All right.
And the convention center is surrounded by palm trees. It's quite lush, quite nice. All right. In the last couple of years, since COVID, we've had a virtual option, but we keep tweaking it because there's less and less interest. And this year, there will be no virtual option. You have to come in person, but we will record the general sessions and make them available about probably 3-4 weeks after conference. And those will be on the AOTA store. By the general sessions, I mean the Slagle, the presidential, the 2 panels. And we are going to be reaching out to some speakers who are on our wait list who didn't get their sessions scheduled. And we're going to be talking to them about doing a series of live webinars post-Inspire that will be in the April, May, June timeframe. So stay tuned there for more information. But if you're used to the virtual platform, that will not be happening because we just did not have enough interest to even cover the costs. So, all right. You would not believe the number of questions we are getting about the discounted tickets. The last time we were in Orlando was 2010. At the time, AOTA had 6,000 attendees. Across the street in the north building of the convention center, there were 22,000 attendees who were there for a covering show, they call it. That was the floor stuff, the carpets, the tiles, all that. Our 6,000 person show sold more tickets to the theme park than the 22,000 person show because of our demographics. What we have found when we go to Orlando, a lot of people bring their parents and their kids, and the parents watch the kids while they're in sessions. And it's good grandma, grandpa quality time with your kids. And we have got some nice discounts to Walt Disney World. Universal is being very chintzy with their discounts, but we do have a link to both sites for you. And I'm calling Universal out on their chintziness. And I've written them to see what they can do about it, but I have yet to hear. So, but you can get some very good discounts for Walt Disney World. And the nice thing is the tickets do not expire for at least a year for Walt Disney World. So, all right. So additional resources here. The microsite, you can get all sorts of information there, everything you need to know. Please join us next, the February 7th, next Wednesday night, and meet the local conference committee. They are a great group of folks. They are a very diverse group of folks. We've got a couple of OTAs, OTs, all sorts of practice areas. They really know Orlando and they're passionate about their hometown, and they're looking forward to talking to you all. Anytime you have any questions, just shoot us an email at conference@aota.org, and a member of the team will be glad to answer them. And on March 7th, Andre, Bridget and I are going to do a first timers orientation because you're going to be so excited about going to Orlando. You're going to want to hear all the inside scoop we give to the first time or been a while folks who are coming to see us in Orlando. And we'll give you some tips on how to navigate the convention center and all of the different offerings. And for those of you who contact hours are important, you'll be getting a CE guide in your conference tote that you can keep track of everything. And you can earn a little bit over 20 contact hours if you go to everything you can possibly go to on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And a bit after Inspire, you'll be able to create your CE certificate and all the backup materials you need in case you are audited by your state board or MBCOT. So Andre, what kind of questions do we have?
Well, first one I'd kind of like to ask, just overall, Joan, Laura, and you, Frank, would be just what type of events are you looking for towards your conference? What do you typically go to?
You want to start, Laura?
Yes. When I go to conference, I'm an occupational therapy assistant. So first I like to prioritize the OTA forum. There's an OTA meetup, and then there is an OTA confab. And these are 3 different events, 3 different styles. There's also going to be this year an OTA Conversations That Matter to engage OTAs. So these are for OTAs and OTA students. But of course, there's always OTs there as well. But I think it's a great opportunity where it gives me an opportunity to meet other OTAs. But those are like the first couple that I will definitely tick off, and I'll put into the app that those are the ones that I want to attend. And then it's always the keynote. I will not miss the keynote because I think it's an awesome way to kick off the weekend. I always leave there so inspired, and I think it's just something that you just don't want to miss if you can make it. The keynote speaker is always somebody that will leave people laughing, will leave us crying, leaves you just feeling really good when you finish.
I agree with that. On the keynote, I think for me, I run the gamut of really honing in on if there's something within my scope of practice, which is pediatrics or academics, that would be helpful, or I like to try and hit some of the research panels because it makes it an easier way to keep up with current research and see what people are doing. And then the other thing I like to do is, because I've been an OT for so long, I have typically some friends or colleagues that are presenting. So I often like to go to support them in their endeavors in presenting. So the other thing that I really enjoy are the award ceremony and seeing, because I also find it inspiring to see what people have done and getting your FAOTA or your roster of honors for OT assistants. I don't know, that's a lot of work, and I'm always so impressed with what people are doing. So it's great to see them celebrated.
And I have to echo that, Joan. I just love the award ceremony.
I do.
And this year, I mean, the number of folks who are getting their fellow and joining the roster of honor is phenomenal. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
And I would agree with that. The award ceremony is a big time for me. Additionally, I agree with Laura. There's OTA events specifically, really, really fun. A lot of energy in the morning. They're usually right in the morning or in the mid-afternoon. So I'm looking forward to those.
Let me add one other thing, Andre.
Yeah.
We have vendors or industry partners who come and help us with the logistics on site. And they were standing outside a room at one conference, and MBCOT was doing the exam prep for OT students. And he just remarked on, I never saw 1,000 people come out of a room at once. And, and just seeing that energy, that excitement, that enthusiasm, and they had been talking about exam prep. So they were geared up, they were fired up. So, all right, Andre.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. So with that, one additional question in regards to the panelists. When you go to your sessions, do you typically bring a sweater? Do you go without a sweater? Obviously we talked about layering ourselves, but I'm sure, for example, a lot of people would like to know, how do you typically dress for conference?
I'm going to say I'm usually dressed in layers, and that way, because also we think of the air conditioning and things, that's why I put it in the chat, things getting cold, but also sometimes the rooms get a little stuffy if it's a very popular one. Or there are times, things happen and the air conditioner isn't working well. And so you need to be able to warm yourself up or cool yourself off. And I'm also going to say, if you're not using a tablet or something, like have a pen handy, because you never know when, and some paper. Or a notebook. Most people are using tablets, but I'm kind of old school sometimes, or if you just want to jot something down. But definitely layers, warm and cold.
Agree.
Okay. Yeah, I agree as well. I usually bring a sweater, just as a secondary one. I'll throw inside my inside my backpack. But then I usually have a coat on because it does get warm and sometimes it does get cold. So absolutely, I agree with you on that. Do we have time for one more question, Frank?
Oh, yeah, we got time.
Okay. So one thing I wanted to hit on in regards to typically when you all attend conference, do you go for a full conference? Do you go for a day? Specifically what I was looking this year with those OTA rates, that definitely I can see that the association looked into us OTAs maybe having a little less income in regards to things and giving us a little discount. So with that, typically, how do you go to conference, Joe? Do you go all conference, Laura, or do you kind of just go for a day or two? How do you typically go?
I'm kind of old school. I go all day, all conference. I was going to interrupt Frank when he was showing the conference rates. And, when we look at it at face value, it's like, oh my gosh, conference is so expensive. Then we have travel, then we have flights and hotel. But when you think about it, even the online continuing ed that's offered these days is like $120 for a day, $250 to $450, $490 for a 2-day conference. And I think of the variety that you can get during AOTA. And then there have been years when I've done pre-conference as well, because that's a solid 6 hours and it's usually on a topic where you're wanting more depth, right? And so those pre-conference institutes can really advance you in an area where maybe you are just a novice in that area, or you need a little more expertise from someone who's been doing it. So I do appreciate the ability to have a daily rate if like you're a local person and you don't have the ability to take that much time, or you have family and you can't come for the whole thing. So I like the options, but I'm all in.
Yeah, same here. I figure if I'm there, I want to get as much out of it as possible. So going from morning till evening, just getting as many units as possible, and just feeling just the whole entire invigoration just from conference itself. I'm there. And if I'm going to fly from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, I'm there for the whole time.
I
And,
got you.
the main reason people come to Inspire or annual conference is for the continuing education. This is consistent in our survey feedback. The second reason is they want to network.
Mhm.
And so if you're there between sessions, we give you breaks so you can get to meet people, and the connections you make can be invaluable for your career enhancement. And you never know what's going to happen, who you're going to sit next to, who you're going to run into. And then the third reason they primarily come is to hear from certain speakers or leaders in the profession. When certain speakers are presenting, we know ahead of time, put them in the largest room. If there is a certain topic going on, oh, that's got to go in the big room. Every year, only it seems we find a new topic that's the new hottest topic, and we get an overflow issue. But we really do work hard on matching the room sizes and that. So
I
next
think the
question.
other-
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, no, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think the other thing when you're talking about networking is, we talk about our conference experiences, and it's also an opportunity sometimes to say thank you to maybe those who have mentored you. That I ran into my very first supervisor and like bigger supervisor from when I first got my foot in the door in pediatrics. And I ran into them in the expo hall. And, you know, here it was 30 years later, and I was able to say, you know, thank you because you gave me this opportunity. And these are some things that I've been doing. And it comes full circle at conference. So it's a great time.
And just one more thing, you know, I know that when you go online, you read a lot of things, you know, about burnout. People are, you know, there's so many regulations and, oh, I can't do my job and I want to switch careers. And once a year coming to conference gives you an opportunity to, as we have said, network with others, but there's just something you leave that I think just kind of puts that fire back under your belly and really wants you to keep moving forward. And it's something that, you know, we're going to face with our daily routine, but when you go to conference though, and you leave, it's like, then you feel like you can tackle anything. I don't know.
Gotcha. Good. One last thing in regards to events. Is there any event, one event that you guys want to shout out in regards to you think that is a must be event and one that you're going to have on your schedule for sure? I know I mentioned for me MBOTC's event. The Slagle lecture will be another one probably. But I wanted to see if each one of you could just give us one event before we kind of wrap up our webinar for today. It could be a special event or it could be a session that you're looking forward to overall.
I just love that keynote. I don't, because you got like 10,000 OTs and the one OT practitioners in one room. It's just, I don't know, very inspiring.
I always send a picture back of that to like my family because they're not OTs and they're like, what is going on? I think, is there a OT Pack event this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
There is,
I'm going to give a
yes.
shout out to the OT Pack, which is our political action committee. I don't always get to make it, but I aspire to because they do so much that we don't know about. And if you can't go to the event because special events, stop by their booth because, man, if you think legislation is not important or you're wondering what's going on, they will take the time to sit and say what the hot topics are, how you can help. And it doesn't have to be a big commitment, and that's my shout out.
I'm looking forward to the panel on Friday afternoon, gender nonconforming care.
That'll be
because
good.
I've gotten to meet all the panelists
Mm.
and their stories are just so compelling. And I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that as well. And one more thing I'd love to mention is don't forget MDI networks are always at AOTA conference and they have sessions as well. So please make sure to look those up in the app and make sure to join that meeting. They'd love to have you. But with that, thank you all of the panelists for today and our wonderful On the Fence webinar. We hope to see you in Orlando.
And thank you all for showing up. And again, conference@aota.org for any conference related questions. And believe it or not, we do respond to all queries, every single one. No questions are, you got a question, ask us, okay? And Bridget's usually one of the ones responding.
Yes, you'll see my name if you email us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you so much. See you in Orlando.
Thanks,
In Orlando,
guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.